guys, welcome to our brand new SquareWine Spirits channel. Something that we're going to do, we're going to talk to our wine and spirit brand representatives that we work with here at SquareWine for all the great brands that we have for you. We're going to give you some inside information and some great coupon codes to use on said brands. And we hope it's going to be super informative and fun and give you some great ideas of things that you can get here at Square. Today we have Harley, like Davidson. She's from Brooklyn Gin. She's the market manager. She also actually is a Long Island City resident. We are all about masks here, but we are actually just going to disrobe. We are socially distanced so that you guys can hear us today. So Harley, as I said, is a customer. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. Her and her boo live here in LIC, and they do shop with us. Mazel on your engagement.
Thank you very much.
She has a massive ring, and thankfully we have 189 million less followers than Kim Kardashian. Otherwise, we would have a situation on our hands because it's pretty sick ring.
I think I'd be lying out.
Oh, you wouldn't? Well, thanks.
They come out right.
So, tell us a little bit more about your experience, your career history, and how you came to Brooklyn Gin.
Sure. So my background ultimately is in hospitality. I grew up in a bar and restaurant that my parents owned in the Hudson Valley. So I've lived in New York my whole life.
Oh, native New Yorker.
Native New Yorker.
Awesome.
Went to school in Albany. I have never not had a zip code that started with a 1. So yes, I am a ride-around New Yorker. So when I left the Hudson Valley, I went to college and decided to move to the city. I knew I wanted to stay in hospitality, so immediately I found a job at a really, really awesome bar restaurant in New York, and I worked there for about 4 years. And then I decided that my knee started to hurt, and I was tired of working until 4 in the morning.
Yes.
So I love, the bar I worked at was a really, really big whiskey restaurant, and I learned so much about spirits and distillation and
sounds awesome.
how you can take a true piece of corn or wheat and turn it into some of our favorite things that we drink today. So
amazing.
I think you and I have a similar relationship where we find distillation and the way it's made so incredibly fascinating.
Yes.
So
I'm more interested in wine, truth be told, but I do find wine and spirits and the process very, very interesting, which we will get to.
We'll get into that. But so yeah, I decided to just get my feet wet in the distribution side of things, and then after I worked with the distributor for a while, I went and worked with a couple of suppliers, and now I finally have landed in my happy place, which is Brooklyn Gin.
Amazing. So just so you guys know, we have actually a very long and sweet history with Brooklyn Gin. I have known Joe Santos I've been at SquareWine for 9 years. People don't realize that, which is kind of unheard of in my career field, but I love it so much. It's near and dear to my heart.
You were in LIC before LIC was LIC.
I was. I've been here since I was a baby. So Joe actually used to live near the shop, and I think that maybe we might have been one of the first to carry Brooklyn Gin.
Eternally grateful to SquareWine.
Yes, and we're eternally grateful to you for your support, because they give us a lot of support from the brand side of things, i.e. doing things like this with us, which we appreciate. So how long have you been the market manager?
About 1.5 years now. It'll be 2 years in March, so it'll be a year.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the actual spirit itself, and I'd love to, I've tasted it a million times.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
You have a little taste right now.
Yeah, great.
While we're chatting about it, it's kind of one of my favorite things to do when I'm talking about Brooklyn Gin, because I think just getting the full visual, the full nasal smelling experience, taste experience. So there's a couple of things that set us apart from other gins, and the 2 most important things are that we are one of the only gins in the world that use 100% fresh peeled citrus in our gin. A lot of other gins will use frozen citrus peels or dried citrus peels. We use 100% hand peeled citrus. So we don't cut any corners. We do everything by hand, and it really delivers a very bright, fresh citrus smell and flavor, of course. So that's one of the big things. And then another thing that we do with our juniper berries is that, for those of you that don't know, to be call the gin, it has the primary botanical has to be juniper. So you know, a lot of people just take dried juniper berries and throw them into their distillate. What we do with our juniper berries is that we get them right before they're dried solid, so they're still just like a little malleable, and we crush them so it releases the inner sweeter, spicier note from the inside of the berry, as opposed to that like harsh, like kind of Christmas tree flavor you might get from the outer shell of the berry. So very fresh, very bright, and the inners of the berry also have a kind of like a citrusy component. So we really have a big focus on citrus because we are made in the U.S. We kind of like to describe ourselves as like a new world American style gin. So definitely not your London dry.
And all the ingredients are American based as well.
Some of our botanicals we do get from overseas, like our lavenders from France.
Yes.
Well,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but and as well as our other.
So there is lavender in it.
Yes. And that's another thing I can get into is our botanicals. You know, there's a lot of gins out there that like to praise themselves on how many botanicals that they have, which I think is really good, and it leads to a very complex flavor. But we like to keep it really, really simple. We use only a few botanicals, which I can name along with our citrus. We use lavender, juniper berries, of course, orris root, and angelica root, which are two pretty common botanicals that you find in gin. Orris root is the root of the iris flower, and angelica root is like wild celery.
Those are a little bit like earthier?
Yeah, they kind of just like give the kind of like hold the gin up. They kind of like the backbone of the gin, but yes, they kind of deliver more of like an earthier, kind of like more of a fuller bodied flavor. Almost.
I think that what I love about this is that it is really balanced. I think for me, like I'm the queen of perfume. Everybody always makes fun of me. They always say, give Maegan something that tastes like hair products and perfume, and she'll buy it. But you get to wear that, yes, but sometimes to drink that, it can be, and that's my issue with gin sometimes, is that it can smell really beautiful, and some of the botanics in it are things that I personally love in fragrance, for example, but it's a little bit difficult to actually drink or blend in a cocktail. So so that's what I really like about the BK gin, is that it's really well balanced, and I didn't realize those like kind of little bit more herbaceous kind of backbone flavors were there, because I can totally taste those that do give it that kind of like almost like heartiness, and allow the citrus and the lavender to kind of like lift in the finish.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a big lavender person, kind of similar to you. Where like anyone's like, it's lavender flavors, I'm like, I want it. So yeah, you do get quite a little bit of lavender on it, but it definitely is more citrus forward. But along with the rest of those botanicals, we use cocoa nibs, which is something very different. We don't think there's anyone else out there that uses cocoa nibs, but it really doesn't taste like chocolate. It's just like something that kind of brings out all the flavors, kind of like it's like sweet, bitter a little bit, and then coriander seeds. So that kind of adds a little spice on the end. So we really keep it simple, and like I said, we hand peel all of our citrus that goes into our distillate, and those citruses are lemon, lime, orange, and clementine. It used to be kumquats, not to confuse anybody that learned a little bit about Brooklyn gin a couple years ago. Kumquats are very hard to get out of season, so clementines.
They're so good though.
Oh my god, them.
I know. I had a beet salad recently with kumquats, and it was so good.
So yeah, it's really, really simple. Again, very citrus forward, but you know, we have those really nice floral, earthy notes that come through on the
really
end.
Pretty.
Really pretty. You know, I think our big thing, and we can get into cocktails in a little bit, but it has great sippability. Like you can just sit here and sip it.
It's delicious.
It's 80 proof, and a lot of other gins are like kind of 85 up to 90. So it has great sippability, but also has really great mixability.
It definitely does. It's really pretty. I have my poppy. My grandfather. This sounds odd to say, but like his breath reminds me of like martinis, because
as it should.
I know. So when I smell like beefeater, it's like, oh, that's like my poppy. So when I visit, I bring them Brooklyn gin, because I think that makes like the best dry martini, and he actually does really like it being like a super, you know how brand specific people can be, especially like older folks. And they really like it, and it does make a really gorgeous dry martini.
It's really funny that you say that about your grandfather, because one of the big things that I always tell people when I do in-store tastings, which hopefully we can do one day
I
soon.
know.
But you know, people always come over and they're like, oh my god, no, like I don't like gin. And I always say, like, we're not your grandfather's gin. Like, we're not that Christmas tree that you used to smell like at your grandfather's house, which is actually it's really funny. I didn't make that up just now. It's funny that you said that. So we're not your grandfather's gin. We are, you know, right, different. And I think it's great that you introduce your grandfather to it, because another thing is that people are so specific to the gin that they like, and it's really great for a gin drinker that's looking to try something new, or also a vodka drinker that likes that like is interested in like learning a little bit more about spirits and potentially gin. I can't stress it enough that we don't taste like a London dry style. It's so different.
No, it's so good.
Very citrus forward.
We actually, so I bring the gin with me when I travel down to Florida, which obviously I'm not doing right now, but we can ship, fortunately, spirits in New York State. And wine. So if that's something that's interesting to you guys, that you want to introduce this to somebody either as a gift or whatever, you know, or you're not in LIC right now and you're somewhere else in the Hudson Valley or the Catskills or on Long Island, we can ship this delicious Brooklyn gin to you as well. So you can just hop on our website, squarewine.com, or email me directly at tastings@squarewine.com. Very easily.
You won't be disappointed.
Yes. So, all right. So, what's the future of Brooklyn Gin looking like? I'm always very curious, and I've mentioned this to Joe in the past as well. What about different sizes? People love different sizes here. Smaller sizes and such pretty packaging. That's why everybody loves to put it in gifts.
How cute would this be in like a little
baby
mini bottle?
We do so great with little cute babies here.
One day maybe down the line, but as you can see, it's such a really beautiful bottle. The glass is like tinted blue. We have copper because of our copper pot still, and copper on the top. So it does come at a pretty penny, the bottle. So
people don't realize how expensive glass and packaging is for small companies.
But it's really beautiful, and it's a 750, so it kind of meets everybody in the middle. It's not a liter, so it's not like too big. Obviously, handles are a different story, but 375s, I feel like I would drink a 375 of this too quickly. So a 750 is our size for now. So, you know, maybe down the line, we are potentially thinking about doing some sort of different expression of the gin, so that could be something down the line. But we do have some fun stuff coming out with Brooklyn Gin in the next few months.
Amazing.
Please keep your eyes peeled for that, especially here at Square Wine.
We will definitely have whatever it is.
Yes,
so
early 2021, potential end of 2020, but please keep your eyes peeled. You will be having Brooklyn Gin in a very, very fun and exciting way. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But in terms of sizes, Megan, I'm sorry, it's just you're gonna have to stick with 750 for now.
I'll just keep dreaming about little baby Brooklyn Gin.
Yes, I know.
They would be like great little side suppers, or like bridal gifts, or like I don't know, whatever.
I just like think I'm like, can we do it in plastic? But
yeah,
like,
it ruins it, but it's okay.
But for now,
we still love it. 750 is a great size.
Yes.
All right. So I want to kind of get into what do you think makes New York State craft spirits special?
Yeah. As I mentioned before, I am a lifelong New Yorker. I don't see myself leaving the state anytime soon. So for me, I think that New York State spirits are really important. Especially, like I said, I grew up in a restaurant, and just buying something that comes from somebody that, like, you know, kind of, is really important. And come on, anything that's made in New York to me is like buying something from someone that's like family, you know? Like, New Yorkers have a way to kind of become a joint entity. So it kind of is just like one big family of people. So I always love to support anything that's from New York, just because I know that anything that's from New York is deemed good quality, you know, like, have you ever had an apple from anywhere else from New York? It doesn't taste very good. People are
obsessed with apple picking in New York.
Quick anecdote on that. I'm from the Hudson Valley, as I mentioned, and I drove upstate on Saturday to like see my family, to go to my home, and it took me 3.5 hours to get 60 miles. It was a disaster.
Yeah. So same. My birthday was on Sunday, and my boyfriend he's from Long Island, and I'm from New Jersey, so do you want to go apple picking? I'm like, No, I don't want to go apples.
We go to
Nothing
the
against
grocery
apples,
store.
but like on a Sunday in
No,
New
no.
York,
No.
no, thank you.
No. We stay here in our little hub of LIC and like go to the beautiful grocery store that we have.
Exactly.
And I can pick up some apples without reaching high. But yes, anyways, back to the point. Yeah, I really love just supporting anything local. I grew up in family business, so small brands, craft brands, and like also when you think of small amount of craft brand, you think of like handmade, like made with love, made with care. So like not only supporting a small business that puts so much love into what they make, supporting a small business from New York for me is really, really special. But
yeah,
what about you?
Yeah, so I mean, for my 21st birthday, actually, I went to, this was before I even got into like wine and spirits and stuff like that. I just started drinking, obviously. It was my 21st birthday. No, never. No. So we went to a winery randomly, and it was in New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, and it was a little tiny winery, and you know, I don't know, I guess that's when I realized there was such a thing as winemakers, but I also went to wine school when I was 21 and moved to California, and lived out there for a year, and obviously that's when the wine bug really bit me, and that's when winemakers really started to become rock stars to me. I don't really have, I don't get, you know, the celebrity kind of thing, but winemakers and distillers are my rock stars, you know. I was like, oh, I met them, they came to the shop, you know. But then when I moved back home and I moved to New York City, I've been in New York City for 10 years, and I started learning more about New York and the Finger Lakes and the Hudson Valley and Long Island and all the things, all the I Love New York, you know, promotional stuff and how much agriculture and stuff we have here. And not to mention the fact that we are a local small business, so I feel, you know, it's really our philosophy. It's important to us to support the local guys just like us, because all of that stuff is cyclical. So, and it all kind of comes full circle. So it's really important for us. We carry, I mean, we've been recognizing Queens as having one of the largest selections of New York State products, not only wine, but spirits, across the board. So it is really important to me because, like I said, we are the little guys. And we want to support, you know, people like Brooklyn Gin, and they are part of what makes us, A, unique, and B, special and part of the fabric of New York City and New York State. We don't have, like I said, I'm from New Jersey, so we don't have the same type of boutique situation. Kind of only in like swankier areas. You know, we have a lot of, and we sell everything together, the beer, wine, and spirits. It's much different in the city and around the state, with the artisan style of wine shops and things like that. So so I'm really proud that we're able to do that, and it's kind of, like I said, it comes full circle. So it's really important.
You know, like living here in Long Island City and coming here as a customer is just, I think that if there was a SquareWines, and obviously I'm not saying this, but like if there was SquareWines and then like a big box store right next door, like my philosophy is always to go to support the smaller independent place that I can come in and have a conversation with you. Like a few months ago, my fiance and I were making like a beautiful fish dinner, and
she really is a customer.
I swear. And I came in and I was like, Maegan, I'm looking for something that'll go really well with this fish. And you were like, is it a little spicy? And I was like, yeah, it's gonna have a little spice in it. And you're like, this wine is perfect. It'll go perfectly well, and it sure did. So not many places where you can go and have a conversation and like feel like you're actually being cared about, and like it's a tailored experience.
And that's the thing is that's what goes hand in hand, not to overuse the word hand, but it's you have the handcrafted, you have the hand sell, you have that direct connection with people. So the craft spirit movement goes, you know, directly with exactly what we're trying to do here at Square. So
you sure do.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah. And I love being a customer, I really do.
Yeah. So let's see. Are you a mixedemiologist by any chance?
I don't even know what that means.
Okay,
no.
So that would be a bartender that also is a doctor of epidemiology.
No, I went to school for communications.
Okay, so not a doctor. Disappointing. I've been listening to too much NPR, I think. So I have a lot of hard-hitting questions. I was wondering if The only things I really care about are preventing wrinkles and not getting coronavirus, or being like typhoid Maegan and spreading coronavirus. So, does Brooklyn Gin prevent wrinkles? First important question.
Research shows it doesn't give you wrinkles.
Okay. That's good enough. Okay.
You know, we use all fresh ingredients, so I can only imagine that using fresh ingredients would avoid wrinkles as opposed to using anything that's artificially flavored or not fresh.
Right,
so
exactly.
I would think that it would aid in the prevention of wrinkles in some capacity. This is not backed by research, this is my own personal thought.
Okay, so is it a cure for coronavirus?
No research has shown that it is a cure of coronavirus, but if you stay home and you drink Brooklyn Gin, then you are wildly less likely to get coronavirus.
So that's the answer. Stay home, make cocktails with Brooklyn Gin, and we can prevent the spread of coronavirus. We've got it all figured out here.
Yes. It's not quite high proof to use as hand sanitizer, but again, if you stay home and you drink it, put it in your glass and drink it, it sure.
Did you guys make any hand sanitizer?
Unfortunately, we didn't. It was just like, by the time we found the resources to get them out.
Yeah, no, I know.
But so, just to give everybody a little background on where we're made, we are made in Warwick, New York. We're not quite made in Brooklyn yet. We are in the process of building our own distillery here. Unfortunately, COVID has put a slowdown to that process, but we are made in New York. We're made in Warwick. It's about 40 miles outside of New York City. And Warwick Valley Winery makes a number of other spirits.
We carry a bunch of other products from them as well.
Along with some other wines and ciders. Warwick made some hand sanitizer for their local doctor's offices and hospitals. So our neutral grain spirit did aid in that. But we did not have any Brooklyn Gin branded hand sanitizer, but our dear friends at Warwick definitely helped the community and supported their local doctor's offices and hospitals.
Amazing.
Yes.
So now we're going to make a pumpkin spice Negroni.
Unfortunately, when I went to the grocery store to get the pumpkin spice, they were all sold out. So we're not going to do pumpkin spice today.
Okay, we're just going to make something
we're going to make a really, really nice Negroni with some really nice bitter and vermouth that Maegan carries here at SquareWine.
So the Syrenes, this is actually a female distiller that we carry. You guys might recognize this from some of the other, the cocktail kit that we have here from the Davids that do the virtual cocktail classes for us. This was in one of those. And then this is also actually another brand that same company carries, the Macchia Vermouth, which has some, as Harley pointed out to me, some Mediterranean flavors, which goes really nicely with the Brooklyn Gin.
Sure does.
So she is going to make a Negroni. I am a great somm, but I'm a terrible mixodymiologist.
Well, I'm here to help, and I'm here to
She's going to show me how it's done.
Instruct you guys at home. Just a reminder, you can obviously get all these ingredients here at Square Wines. If I'm not mistaken, you are offering a little bit of a discount.
coupon code. I'll tell you at the end.
Oh, okay, sorry. No spoiler. So we're just going to do a very basic Negroni here. No pumpkin spice, no other fancy things that we're going to do. This vermouth is so delicious, but I do think that the flavors are very bold, so we're going to cut back on. Usually a Negroni would just be equal parts. We're going to do just a little bit more gin and a little bit of less vermouth just to let everything shine and work together.
Try that while you're...
Yeah, please do. So I'm going to make one for both Maegan and I, but we're just for you at home. You're going to do 1.5 ounces of Brooklyn Gin. And then we're going to do like 3/4 of an ounce of this delicious vermouth.
It's kind of got that like grandma's basement vibe.
In
but, like,
such a good way.
Delicious, like 70s basement shag carpet.
I'm happy that you can say that to your customers because your customers obviously are a little bit more like educated on like wine and stuff.
Have you met me?
I'm always like, like it smells like wine from France smells like an old book. And to the average Joe on the street, they're like, I don't want to drink anything that tastes like an old book. I'm like, but you do, I promise. Like a stinky, stinky cab franc. Oh yes. And then this, we're gonna just do 1 ounce of this delicious bitter. Love a female winemaker. gonna stir it up in a nice little glass. You can use a little glass, some ice. Just get it nice and cold. For those of you that don't know, anything that's just mostly spirit based, you're not going to shake. You really only shake cocktails that have any citrus or citrus juice in it, and that just helps dilute the citrus, but also break up the molecules so you get a brighter, fresher flavor instead of kind of just like you're drinking the juice. But for a cocktail like this, like an old fashioned or a martini, or well, a martini can be debated, but a Manhattan, an old fashioned, a Negroni, you're always just going to stir it and get it nice and cold.
And those types of cocktails are really great, especially for somebody like me who's really a bad mixodymiologist that can't, you know, these are couple ingredient cocktails that don't require, you know, like lavender syrup and thank you.
And one for me.
Things that I have at home, things that are easily accessible here.
Cheers. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Fantastic.
Cheers to you at home. I hope that you come by and get all of these delicious ingredients and make yourself a tasty Brooklyn gin cocktail.
Coupon code. That's so pretty. Oh my god. I love those.
Yeah, that vermouth comes through so perfectly.
So pretty.
That bitter is so nice. Kind of hits you on the back. Really, really smooth, delicious, and it's a nice color. You know, you're always used to the Negroni being like bright red.
Yeah, bright red.
This is so pretty. It's like.
Oh, so you know what I should mention to you guys? So the Cyrene is a bitter. So we're talking like Campari. That's a bitter. This is the artisan,
exactly.
Small batch craft production. That's kind of what we're talking about today.
This is the Brooklyn gin of
that's
bitter.
the Brooklyn gin of Italian bitter. So that's what we're using today. We're using all small batch, small production craft spirits in this cocktail today. So I should mention that. That's why when you usually get a Negroni out, it's that fluorescent red, orange. So because these are all, you know, hand foraged herbs and botanics, it pulls there's no artificial flavors or colors in here. So it pulls this really beautiful auburn copper color.
Yeah, and you can always like garnish a Negroni with like an orange twist or a lemon twist. For this, I just felt like the bitter comes through really nicely, and the vermouth works really well. So you don't really need it. It's just like
it's really pretty.
No need to waste some pretty fancy fruit and just drink it nicely. So and this is just again something really simple to make at home. Like when you say you can do equal parts, there's no really wrong way. All these taste so good.
Yeah. That's my best friend's, one of my best friend's favorite drinks, so I have to be a good host and figure out how to.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, so let's do a coupon code. So if you guess, it's gonna be limes. I'll put this on the website for you guys. You can get this coupon code for 24 hours. I'll put this up for you guys. I don't know if it's gonna be backwards for you guys or not, but it's limes. Limes. And you're gonna do 5% on one bottle of Brooklyn gin, if you guys get that, for 24 hours after I post the video. Or if you get all three as a kit, we'll do 10% on all three bottles for you guys, okay? So I think that's a pretty square deal.
Oh, I like that. I like that. And yeah, this is a great thing to like make for friends and family. If you're doing a small, obviously, I think with the holidays this year.
This would be a great Thanksgiving cocktail.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right?
Obviously, with the holidays this year,
the flavor profile,
keeping things small.
It might not be pumpkin spice, but it's
not pumpkin
spice. Toasty and delicious.
And I was just saying with Thanksgiving this year, we're doing like a small, immediate family, and I'm so happy that I can just wear sweatpants and like not put on jeans.
I think I'm working, so you guys can come and see me.
If I have any leftover food.
Oh, really?
But cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. We're going to actually be with Doc Persons next time, which is also a local craft spirit. Absinthe, and they've also extended their portfolio. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Harley, so much.
My pleasure.
Hi, Joe. We missed you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.